A badge can be a shield for justice, or a weapon for prejudice. For one racist cop, it was a license to bully. He thought the black driver was just another easy target. He never imagined. The man's phone was connected to the most powerful law enforcement official in the country, and that single slap would be the end of his career. Quick, jarring cuts, a gleaming police badge, a black man's calm eyes in a rearview mirror, a white cop's enraged face, a hand slapping a face. The screen of a phone showing an active call with FBI Director. Meet Officer Mark Riggins. Late 20s. Built like a linebacker, with the temper of a provoked hornet. He patrolled the wealthy, tree-lined streets of Oakridge Heights. His job wasn't to serve and protect. It was to harass and intimidate anyone who looked like they didn't belong. And to him, a black man in a luxury car was the ultimate provocation. Officer Riggins leaning against his cruiser, sipping coffee, his eyes constantly scanning for suspicious vehicles. He smirks as he watches an expensive sedan drive by. Now meet Marcus Thorne, 45 years old, a man whose calm demeanor hid a mind that worked like a supercomputer. He was a man on his way to a meeting that would shape national security policy. But first, he was taking a rare moment for himself, driving his own car, listening to jazz, unwinding before the storm. He signaled perfectly and turned onto a quiet, shaded street. He never saw the patrol car lurking in the supermarket parking lot. He never saw the predator locking onto his target. The siren chirped once. Short, aggressive, Marcus sighed. I checked his speed. He was 5 miles under the limit. He signaled and pulled over smoothly. Professional. Calm. Officer Riggins took his time. He finished his coffee. Ran the plates. Clean. A Mercedes S-Class. Registered to A.M. Thorne. He swaggered to the driver's window. Tapped on the glass with his heavy flashlight. License and registration. His voice was a low growl. Marcus handed them over. Afternoon, officer. Is there a problem? Riggins didn't look at the documents. He looked at the man, at the expensive watch on his wrist, in a tailored suit. We got reports of a car matching this description. Reckless driving. Marcus frowned. That's impossible. I've been driving the speed limit since I left the city. Riggins' eyes narrowed. A challenge. Step out of the vehicle. Marcus remained seated. I prefer to know the specific reason for the stop, officer. Riggins' face flushed. He didn't like being questioned. I said, step out of the vehicle. Now! The air crackled with tension. Riggins leaning into the window. His face inches from Marcus's. Marcus's calm, unwavering gaze. Marcus unbuckled and stepped out. He stood tall, his posture erect. Riggins walked a circle around him. Where did you head in such a hurry? A meeting? What kind of meeting? A private one. Riggins stopped in front of him, invading his space. Are you being smart with me? I'm answering your questions, Marcus said, his voice steady. Riggins' temper flared. The power struggle was escalating. He needed to win. Turn around. Place your hands on the roof of the car. Marcus didn't move. On what charge? Obstruction. Now. That's when Marcus made his fateful move. He reached for his pocket. To Riggins, the movement was a threat. I said, don't move, he barked. He grabbed Marcus's arm, roughly twisting it. Marcus, a man of discipline, instinctively pulled back. It was a final straw for Riggins' ego. In a flash of blinding rage, his hand shot out. Smack! The sound echoed in the quiet street. An open-handed slap across Marcus's face. It was hard, humiliating. Marcus staggered back, his hand going to his stinging cheek. He looked at Riggins, not with fear, but with a cold, terrifying fury. His phone, which he had been reaching for, was now in his hand. The screen was lit. An active call timer was counting. 00:01:47, 00:01:48, and the contact name displayed was a single, chilling word. Director. Riggins saw it. He laughed, a harsh, ugly sound. Director of what? Your bowling league? Hang up the phone. Marcus didn't hang up. He slowly raised the phone to his ear. His voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of an avalanche. Sir, yes, I'm okay. The officer's name is Riggins. Badge number 1874. He just assaulted me. Riggins' smirk faltered. Who the hell are you talking to? Marcus held out the phone. He'd like to speak with you. Riggins, sneering, snatched the phone. Yeah? This is Officer Riggins. Who is this? The voice that came through the speaker was ice. A voice used to command thousands of agents. A voice that regularly briefed the president. Officer Riggins. This is Robert McCall, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You have just assaulted a senior federal advisor. You will cease all aggression immediately. You will stand by. A tactical team is en route to your location. Do you understand? Riggins' face went through a terrifying transformation. Arrogance turned to confusion. Confusion turned to disbelief. Disbelief turned to pure, unadulterated terror. His hand trembled so violently, he almost dropped the phone. This is a joke. The only joke here, officer, is your conduct. Now stand down. The line went dead. Riggins stood frozen, a statue of shame and fear. In the distance, a new sound emerged. Not sirens. The deep, powerful thrum of helicopter rotors. Growing louder. Fast. Marcus Thorne took back his phone. He looked at the petrified officer. You asked what kind of meeting I was going to, Marcus said, his voice dangerously soft. It was with him. He pointed to the sky. And it seems he's coming to me. The deafening roar of helicopter blades descending. A sharp, intense musical sting. Then the sound of squealing tires. Riggins' face, pale and horrified. Marcus's calm, victorious expression. The shadow of a helicopter passing over them. He thought he was slapping a helpless driver. He was actually slapping a national security asset. And the director of the FBI isn't coming for a meeting. He's coming for justice. The deafening roar of helicopter blades. Squealing tires. Then the crackle of a police radio. A tense, pulsing beat begins. The sky is falling. And it's landing on Officer Riggins. The FBI director isn't just on the phone. He's in the air. And the black driver he just slapped is about to become his worst nightmare. A black FBI helicopter descending low over the street. Riggins shielding his face from the rotor wash. Marcus standing perfectly still, a statue of calm. The helicopter didn't land. It hovered, a menacing black bird of prey. From the open side door, a figure fast roped down, landing with a soft thud on the asphalt. Then another, and another. They were dressed in black tactical gear, helmets, and sunglasses. FBI HRT, hostage rescue team. They move with a chilling, synchronized efficiency, securing perimeter without a word. Their leader, a woman with a severe bun and eyes that missed nothing, approached. She ignored the trembling Riggins completely. Mr. Thorne, Director McCall sent us. Are you injured, sir? Marcus touched his cheek. I'll live, Agent Miller. Thank you for the prompt response. Riggins could only stare, his brain refusing to process the scene. This wasn't a response. This was an invasion. The HRT team fanning out. Agent Miller speaking to Marcus with respect. Riggins looking small and insignificant. Agent Miller finally turned to Riggins. Her gaze was like a physical blow. You, hand over your weapon and your badge. Now. It wasn't a request. It was a global command. Riggins fumbled with his holster, his hand shaking so badly he could barely unlatch it. He handed over his service weapon, a useless toy in the face of the rifle surrounding him. Then his badge. The symbol of his power was now a token of his disgrace. Agent Miller took it without a word and handed it to an agent, who bagged it as evidence. Riggins was placed in the back of his own patrol car, not as an officer, as a detainee. Through the window, he watched as Marcus Thorne spoke calmly into a satellite phone. No, Robert, it's handled. Yes, the Oakridge project is still on schedule. Don't worry about me. Robert. He was on a first-name basis with the director. The reality of his mistake was a cold knife in his gut. Agent Miller opened the car door and slid in beside him. Let's talk, Officer Riggins. Why did you stop Mr. Thorne? I had probable cause, Riggins stammered. What caused it? Miller interrupted, her voice sharp. The reckless driving report? We already checked. There were no calls. You lied. Riggins' mouth went dry. And the slap? Miller continued, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. That wasn't protocol. That was rage. Who taught you that? Riggins looked down. He was cracking. I want a lawyer. You'll get one, Miller said. But right now, you're looking at federal assault charges. But maybe you're just a symptom. Maybe there's a disease in this precinct. While Riggins squirmed, the FBI's digital forensics team was already at work. They cloned the hard drive from his patrol car's dashcam. They pulled his personnel file. A pattern emerged. Dozens of complaints, all from black or Hispanic drivers, all dismissed by his superior, Sergeant David Moss. Agent Miller showed the files to Marcus. This Riggins isn't a lone wolf. He's a protected one. Marcus scanned the documents. His sharp eyes missing nothing. Sergeant Moss, he said, he's buried every complaint. Why? The answer came from a young, nervous patrol officer who had arrived as backup, but was now being questioned by the FBI. Sergeant Moss, he has an understanding, the officer whispered. He tells us which neighborhoods to patrol aggressively. He says it keeps the crime stats down. And who tells him? Marcus asked. The officer shrugged. The old guard. The ones who've been here forever. They have a fund, a bonus for keeping certain elements out. It was systemic rot, a sanctioned shakedown operation, disguised as policing. Riggins was just a foot soldier, and Marcus Thorne had just stumbled into their war. As the FBI dug deeper, a dark sedan pulled up. Sergeant David Moss stepped out, a large, red-faced man with a permanent scowl. What the hell is the meaning of this? He boomed, marching toward Agent Miller. You can't just take my officer. We can, and we have, Sergeant, Miller replied coolly. And we have questions for you. About a fund. About dismissed complaints. Moss's bluster vanished. His eyes darted around, panicked. He saw Marcus, and recognition dawned on his face. Not of Marcus as a victim, but of Marcus as a threat. You, Moss hissed. I should have known. Know what, Sergeant? Marcus asked. Moss didn't answer. He turned and stormed back to his car, pulling out his phone. He wasn't calling a lawyer. He was calling someone else. Someone higher up. The real power. Within an hour, the FBI's investigation hit a wall. A federal judge, a well-known friend of the police union, issued an injunction demanding Riggins be released into local custody. The pressure was mounting, but Director McCall was not a man who bowed to pressure. He arrived on scene in a 3 SUV motorcade. He was tall, with silver hair and a gaze that could pin you to the wall. He went straight to Marcus. Marcus, I'm sorry this happened. It's not your fault, Robert, but it's bigger than one cop. I know, the director said, his face grim, and that's why we're not backing down. He turned to Agent Miller. Get Riggins to a federal holding facility. Now, I'll deal with the judge. But as two agents moved to transfer Riggins from the patrol car to an FBI SUV, a shot rang out. Crack! The bullet hit the pavement near the agent's feet. Everyone dropped for cover. On a rooftop across the street, a glint of sunlight off a rifle scope. A sniper. They weren't trying to free Riggins. They were trying to silence him. A single high-powered rifle shot. The sound of agents yelling sniper. Take cover. The intense music cuts abruptly. The bullet sparking off the asphalt. The FBI team scrambling for cover. The glint of the sniper's scope on the rooftop. He exposed a corrupt cop. He uncovered a conspiracy. But the conspiracy is fighting back with bullets. The echo of the sniper shot, agents yelling cover, then the roar of the FBI helicopter lifting off. A high-tension, racing soundtrack begins. The shot was a message, a declaration of war. Officer Riggins wasn't just a criminal. He was a witness. And someone powerful wanted him dead before he could talk. The quiet street has become a battlefield, and the FBI director is now a target. The FBI HRT team pulling a terrified Riggins from the patrol car, shielding him with their bodies. The sniper's laser sight dancing across the street. Get him to the chopper. Now! Director McCall barked, his voice cutting through the chaos. 2 HRT operators formed a human shield around the shaking Riggins, moving in a crouched run toward the idling helicopter. On the rooftop, the sniper fired again. Ping! The bullet ricocheted off the helicopter's armored skid. Marcus Thorne, instead of taking cover, was on his phone, his voice calm but sharp. Watchtower, this is Sentinel. I need an eye in the sky. Rooftop, northeast corner of Elm and 5th. Find that shooter. He wasn't just an advisor. He was a field controller. The FBI helicopter rose swiftly, using its bulk to block the sniper's line of sight. Inside, Riggins was strapped in, sobbing. They're gonna kill me. Agent Miller slapped him hard, not in anger, but to focus him. Who? Who's gonna kill you, Riggins? Sergeant Moss. Riggins shook his head, tears streaming. Moss is small time. It's the man above him, the one who signs the checks. On the ground, the HRT team laid down suppressing fire on the rooftop. The sniper was pinned down. Director McCall approached Marcus. Marcus, you need to get to a secure site. You're too exposed. Not yet, Robert, Marcus said, his eyes on a tablet an agent handed him. It showed a live drone feed. The shot didn't come from a professional. The stance was wrong. This was a hired hand. A warning. The drone feed zoomed in. The sniper was scrambling down a fire escape, dropping the rifle into a dumpster. He's disposable, which means the person who hired him is close. They're panicking. Just then, Marcus's phone buzzed. An encrypted text. It was from an unknown number. The message was simple. The Oakridge Project. Stand down or the daughter gets it. A photo attached. It was a picture of Marcus's 16-year-old daughter, Kendra, walking into her high school, taken that very morning. Marcus's blood ran cold. The unflappable man was shaken. They weren't just targeting him. They were targeting his family. Director McCall saw the change in his friend's face. What is it? Marcus showed him the phone. McCall's face turned to granite. This ends now. He got on the radio. I want a protective detail on Thorne's family yesterday. And I want a full forensic dive into Sergeant Moss's life. Every bank account, every phone call, every mistress. I want the source. The FBI machine kicked into overdrive. In a mobile command center, analysts dug. They found it quickly. Sergeant Moss had a hidden bank account in the Cayman Islands. Large, regular deposits from a shell corporation called Oakridge Heritage Fund. The same name from the text. The Oakridge Project wasn't a government secret. It was the code name for the corrupt system itself. And the fund? It was managed by a powerful, respected figure, Mayor Edward Reynolds of Oakridge Heights, the man who ran on a law and order platform, the man who was the public face of the community. Mayor Reynolds. He was the one who protected the corrupt cops. He was the one who profited from a terrified, clean community. And he was the one who had just threatened a child. Marcus took a deep breath, pushing his fear for his daughter into a cold, focused rage. He's a politician. He responds to pressure, public pressure. He looked at Director McCall. I need to make a phone call to a reporter at the Times. Off the record. McCall nodded. Do it. Marcus made the call. He didn't give details. He simply said that a major scandal involving the Oakridge Heights Police Department and the mayor's office was about to break, that the FBI was involved, that it involved attempted murder. It was a leak. A carefully placed stone meant to start an avalanche. Within minutes, Mayor Reynolds' phone would be ringing off the hook. They would force him into the open. Sure enough, Sergeant Moss's phone, which had been confiscated, lit up. The caller ID, Mayor's office. Agent Miller put it on speaker. David, what the hell is happening? Mayor Reynolds' voice was tight, panicked. I'm getting calls from the press. Moss, under the watchful eyes of the FBI, stammered. It's out of control, Ed. The FBI has Riggins. They know about the fund. Shut up, you idiot, the mayor screamed. Don't say another word. Just sit tight. I'll handle it. The line went dead. "He'll handle it," Marcus repeated. "That means he's going to run. Or he's going to try to clean the house." Director McCall issued orders. "I want surveillance on Mayor Reynolds. Freeze the Oakridge Heritage Fund assets. And bring in Sergeant Moss for formal questioning. It's time to flip him." As agents moved to transport Moss, Marcus's phone buzzed again. Another message from the same unknown number. "You called the press. Bad move. Check your email." Marcus opened his laptop, his hand steady. There was a video file. He clicked play. The video showed Mayor Reynolds in his office, talking to a man whose face was blurred. "Just keep the pressure on the right neighborhoods," Reynolds said. "The donations from the Heritage Fund depend on it. We can't have the property values dropping." The blurred man replied, "And if the cops get too rough?" Reynolds smiled a cold, ugly smile. "The city has excellent liability insurance, and I have excellent lawyers." It was a confession, but it was also a trap. The email header showed the video was sent from Marcus's own, secure, FBI-issued email address. Mayor Reynolds hadn't sent the video. He had framed Marcus for leaking it. The message was clear. "I can get inside your world. I can destroy your credibility." Director McCall's phone rang. It was the Deputy Attorney General. "McCall, what the hell are you doing? I've got the White House on the line. There's a video all over the internet that appears to have been leaked by your man Thorne. This is a massive breach." McCall tried to explain, but the damage was done. The public narrative was shifting from corrupt mayor to rogue FBI agent. Marcus was being isolated. As McCall argued on the phone, Marcus saw a black van with tinted windows pull up at the far end of the street. It didn't look like the FBI. The side door slid open. Inside, he saw his daughter, Kendra, gagged and terrified, her eyes wide with fear. A man with a cold, dead-eyed stare looked directly at Marcus. It was the same man from the blurred video. He held up the phone. Marcus's own phone rang. He answered. The man's voice was a whisper. "You have 1 hour to drop all charges, to call the press and recant, or you'll be planning a funeral." The line went dead. The van door slid shut and it sped away. The van door slamming shut, tires screeching. A sharp, intense musical sting. Then a deafening silence. The van speeding away. Marcus's face, a mask of sheer terror and fury. He exposed corruption. He trapped the mayor. But the enemy has just played their ultimate card. And for Marcus Thorne, the mission is no longer about justice. It's about survival. A heartbeat pounding, the screech of the van's tires fading. Then a sharp, single piano note that hangs in the air. A slow, relentless drumbeat begins. They crossed the one line that can never be uncrossed. They took his child. Now the calm, calculating advisor is gone, replaced by a father with nothing left to lose. And the full, terrifying power of the FBI is about to be unleashed. Extreme close-up on Marcus's eyes. The calm intelligence replaced by primal, burning fury. The black van disappears around a corner. Director McCall saw the change in his friend. The color had drained from Marcus's face, but his body was coiled like a spring. "Marcus? What is it?" Marcus turned to him, his voice a low, dangerous rasp. "They have Kendra." McCall's own professional calm shattered. "What? How?" The detail was compromised, just like everything else here. Marcus's mind was already racing, the supercomputer kicking into overdrive, fueled by adrenaline and rage. The video leak, the threat, it was all a distraction, to pull resources, to create an opening. He looked at McCall, his gaze absolute. "Robert, this is no longer an investigation. This is a rescue mission, and I am leading it." McCall didn't hesitate. He nodded, keying his radio. "All units. This is a director. We have a code Amber, agent's family member. I am transferring tactical command to Sentinel. Repeat, Sentinel has a con. All agencies comply." The order was unprecedented. A civilian was now in command of the FBI. Marcus moved to command SUV, pulling up a live map of the city. The van is an older model, no GPS. But they have 1 hour. They can't go far. They'll need a secure location. Isolated. His fingers flew across the keyboard, cross-referencing data. Pull all property records from Mayor Reynolds' associates, the Oakridge Heritage Fund. Look for warehouses, abandoned properties, remote cabins. The FBI's vast databases responded instantly. An analyst called out, "Sir, the Heritage Fund owns a decommissioned water treatment plant on the edge of the city. It's scheduled for demolition next month." Marcus zoomed in on the satellite image. It was perfect, isolated, surrounded by fences, with numerous buildings to hide in. That's it. That's where they are. He turned to Agent Miller. "I need a perimeter. Silent. No sirens. No lights. I need eyes inside before we move." "We have a drone overhead in 90 seconds, she responded. Those 90 seconds were the longest of Marcus's life. The drone feed came online, showing a thermal view of the treatment plant. There, 2 heat signatures in a central control room, one large, one smaller. Kendra and her captor. The HRT team moved in like ghosts, breaching the outer fence with silent cutters. Marcus's phone rang. The same number. "Time's almost up, Thorne. Have you called the press?" Marcus's voice was ice. "I need proof of life. Put her on the phone." A moment of silence, then a muffled sob. "Daddy." The sound broke him, but he held firm. "I'm coming, baby. Be brave." The line went dead. On the drone feed, Marcus saw the captain put the phone away. Then he saw something else. The man was placing small, brick-like objects around the room. Explosives. He wasn't planning a trade. He was planning a massacre. "He's wiring the room with C4. Marcus yelled into the comms. "Storm now. Now. Now." There were explosives. The HRT team bursting into motion. The assault was swift and brutal. Flashbangs lit up the building before the HRT team even entered. The sound of shattered glass and shouted commands echoed. Marcus watched the feed, his heart in his throat. He saw the blur of his daughter, being shielded by an agent. He saw the captor, the dead-eyed man, reach for the detonator. A single, precise shot rang out. The man dropped, a red bloom spreading on his chest. The threat was neutralized. Kendra was safe. As Kendra was rushed to a waiting ambulance, Mayor Reynolds, watching his plan collapse on the news, tried to flee. He didn't make it to his private jet. FBI agents were waiting for him on the tarmac. His arrest was televised. The scandal exploded. The protected kingdom of Oakridge Heights crumbled in a day. Sergeant Moss, seeing his patron fall, sang like a canary to avoid a life sentence, implicating dozens of others in the corrupt network. Officer Riggins, facing the full weight of the federal government, also pleaded guilty, his arrogance completely broken. Weeks later, Marcus stood with Director McCall outside the courthouse. "You could have a badge, Marcus," McCall said. "After this, you could have anything you want." Marcus shook his head, watching his daughter, now safe and smiling, get into a car. "I don't want a badge, Robert. A badge didn't save her. Integrity did. Courage did. The system, when it works, did." He turned to his friend. "The lesson isn't that one bad cop got caught. The lesson is that silence is cancer. Every time someone looks the other way, Riggins gets a little braver. Reynolds gets a little richer. The only thing that stops it is light. Relentless, unforgiving light." McCall nodded. "The Oakridge project is over." "No," Marcus corrected, a determined look in his eye. "It's just beginning. We're auditing every Oakridge in this country, starting next week." Marcus and Kendra embracing, a moment of pure relief and love. Then, a final shot of Marcus looking out over the city, a file labeled Next Audit on his desk. A slap was answered with a sledgehammer. Prejudice was met with unwavering principle. Because the true power of a nation lies not in its weapons, but in the unwavering character of its people, and the courage of those who refuse to be silent. Final thoughts. Speak up, even if your voice shakes. Silence is the language of complicity. Marcus Thorne,